My girlfriend's best friend threw me down the stairs and manipulated her into breaking up with me. He then tried to burn my house down and assaulted me, so I got him imprisoned. I met Emma 3 years ago at a coffee shop, and we'd been dating for 2 years when things started getting weird. Her best friend Kyle had been in her life since high school, and I'd always gotten along with him fine. He was at every birthday, every holiday, every group hangout. Emma trusted him completely. The stairs incident happened on a Tuesday night. I was at Emma's apartment helping her move furniture when Kyle showed up unannounced. I was coming down the stairs carrying a lamp when I felt hands on my back. I tumbled forward, hit the landing hard, and cracked 2 ribs. Kyle was at the top of the stairs looking shocked, saying I must have lost my balance. Emma believed him immediately. After that, things changed. Emma started responding to my texts hours late. She'd cancel plans last minute, saying she was tired or had to help Kyle with something. When we did hang out, she seemed distracted, checking her phone constantly. I asked if something was wrong, and she said everything was fine, but her voice had this edge to it I'd never heard before. Kyle started showing up everywhere. If Emma and I were grabbing dinner, he'd text asking to join. If we were watching a movie at my place, he'd call saying he needed to talk to her about something urgent. She'd always take the call in another room, and I could hear her voice through the door but couldn't make out words. I noticed Kyle's car parked outside Emma's apartment at odd hours, 3 a.m. on a Wednesday, 6 a.m. on a Sunday. I didn't mention it because I didn't want to seem jealous or controlling, but then Emma started saying things that didn't sound like her. She'd tell me I was too clingy, too demanding, that I needed to give her space. These were words I'd never heard from her before. Her friends started acting weird around me too. At a group dinner, her roommate Jessica kept giving me these looks, like she felt sorry for me. When I asked what was going on, she said I should talk to Emma, but every time I tried, Emma would deflect or say I was being paranoid. Kyle's behavior got stranger. He'd text me asking to hang out one-on-one, which he'd never done before. When we met for coffee, he'd ask questions about my work schedule, when I'd be home, whether I lived alone. The questions felt off somehow, too specific, but I couldn't figure out why. Emma broke up with me on a Thursday. She said she needed time to focus on herself, that our relationship had become unhealthy. I asked what changed, and she said Kyle had helped her see things clearly. She said he'd pointed out patterns of controlling behavior I didn't even know I was exhibiting. The accusations came rapid fire, things I'd supposedly said or done that I had no memory of. I tried to argue, but she wouldn't listen. She said Kyle had been there for her when I wasn't, that he understood her better than I did. The way she said his name had this defensive quality, like she was protecting him from criticism. 2 weeks later, I smelled smoke at 2 a.m. I ran downstairs and found my kitchen on fire, small flames spreading from a pile of rags soaked in something that smelled like gasoline. I grabbed my fire extinguisher and put it out before calling 911. The fire inspector found evidence of forced entry through my back door. 3 days after that, Kyle showed up at my house. He was agitated, pacing on my porch, demanding I stay away from Emma. I said I hadn't contacted her since the breakup. He didn't believe me, said Emma had told him I'd been harassing her. I pulled out my phone to show him there were no calls or texts, and that's when he lunged at me. The security camera footage showed everything, and what the police found on his phone revealed the truth about what he'd really been doing for months. The rest of the story is on my channel or linked below. I'm sitting in a cold metal chair at the police station, my ribs screaming with every breath I take. The fluorescent lights make everything look harsh and unreal, like I'm trapped in some bizarre dream. But the pain tells me this is happening. The officer across from me, Detective Ramirez, according to her nameplate, watches me with patient eyes as I struggle to form coherent sentences. Take your time, she says, sliding a cup of water toward me. My hands are still shaking. It's been 3 hours since Kyle attacked me on my front porch. 3 hours since I watched the rage in his eyes as he lunged at me, his fists connecting with my face and body while I tried to defend myself. The same guy who'd been at every birthday dinner, every holiday gathering for the past 2 years. Emma's best friend. Let's go through it one more time, Detective Ramirez says, her pen hovering over her notepad. You said the security camera captured everything? I nod, wincing at the movement. It's a doorbell camera, records when there's motion. My voice sounds strange to my own ears. The footage uploads automatically to cloud storage. While another officer retrieves the footage, the medical examiner documents my injuries. 2 cracked ribs from the stairs incident, a split lip, bruised jaw, and what will likely become a spectacular black eye from today's attack. They photograph everything methodically, creating a visual record of Kyle's handiwork. When they play the security footage on a monitor, I watch myself again. The confusion on my face when I open the door to find Kyle pacing on my porch. The way his body language shifts from agitated to violent in seconds. There's no ambiguity in the footage. Kyle clearly attacks me unprovoked, continuing to punch and kick even after I fall to the ground. Jesus, Detective Ramirez mutters. She pauses the footage, points to a frame where Kyle's face is clearly visible, contorted with rage. And this is the same person who pushed you down the stairs? Yes, I say, remembering the feeling of hands on my back, the sickening moment of free fall before I hit the landing. But I don't have footage of that. What about the fire? You mentioned attempted arson? I explain about waking up to the smell of smoke, finding the rags soaked in gasoline. The fire inspector had found pry marks on my back door, evidence someone had forced their way in. The pieces are falling into place now, forming a picture so disturbing I can barely process it. We found something else you should see, another officer says, entering the room with a tablet. We got a warrant for his phone records after the assault. There's a lot here, but these messages stood out. They show me screenshots of texts between Kyle and Emma spanning months. Kyle systematically poisoning her against me, fabricating stories, twisting innocent interactions into manipulative behavior. In one message, he claims to have witnessed me flirting with a barista on a day I was actually at a doctor's appointment. In another, he tells Emma I've been complaining about her to mutual friends, creating specific quotes I never said. But what makes my blood run cold are the messages to his friend Marcus about me, plans to get rid of the problem, discussions about the layout of my house, my schedule, when I'd be home alone. The fire wasn't spontaneous, it was planned weeks in advance. We've arrested him, Detective Ramirez says, her voice gentler now. Assault, attempted arson, breaking and entering. With this evidence, we'll add stalking and conspiracy charges. He's He's not getting out anytime soon. I should feel relieved, but all I can think about is Emma. Have you contacted my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend about this? Detective Ramirez nods. We showed her the footage of the assault and some of the messages. She's struggling to process it. That's when I see Emma through the glass partition, sitting in another interview room. Her face is pale, eyes red-rimmed from crying. When our gazes meet, she quickly looks away, then back again with an expression I can't read. Disbelief? Guilt? I don't know anymore. The officer who interviewed her approaches me later as I'm filling out paperwork for the restraining order. She's having a hard time accepting this, he says quietly. Says there must be some explanation, that Kyle wouldn't do these things. She's known him since high school, trusts him completely. I know, I say, because I do understand. Kyle has been her rock, her constant for years longer than I've been in the picture. The thought that he could be capable of this level of manipulation and violence must be shattering her world. I'm cleared to leave around midnight with instructions to rest and a prescription for pain medication. As I gather my things, Emma appears in the doorway of the room. For a moment, we just look at each other, the weight of everything that's happened hanging between us. I need time, she finally says, her voice barely audible. I can't. I don't know what to believe right now. They have his phone, Emma. The messages, the plans. Stop. She holds up her hand. Kyle says those messages are being taken out of context. That you've manipulated the police just like you tried to manipulate me. Her voice breaks. He's been my best friend for 10 years. You've been in my life for 3. What am I supposed to think? I want to argue, to make her see, but the defeated look in her eyes stops me. Look at the evidence, is all I can say. Really look at it. She shakes her head slightly. I need to go. Kyle's parents are posting his bail, and I promised I'd be there. The words hit me like another physical blow. She's still choosing him, even now, even with all the evidence laid out in front of her. As she turns to leave, Detective Ramirez steps between us. Miss Carter, she says to Emma, I strongly advise you to review all the evidence before making contact with Mr. Lawson. He's being charged with very serious crimes, and the case against him is substantial. Emma's eyes flicker with uncertainty, but she just nods and walks away. I watch her go, wondering if there will ever be a way back from this, or if Kyle has permanently destroyed what we had. As I step outside into the cool night air, my phone buzzes with a text from a number I don't recognize. This isn't over. You'll regret this. I show it to Detective Ramirez, who's escorting me to my car. Probably a friend of Kyle's, she says, taking a screenshot. We'll add it to the case file. Do you have somewhere safe to stay tonight? I think about my house with its broken back door, the lingering smell of gasoline, the knowledge that Kyle knows every entry point. I'll figure something out. Call us if you feel unsafe, she says, handing me her card. And document everything. This type of behavior often escalates before it gets better. As I drive away from the police station, I realize this is just the beginning. Kyle may be in custody now, but he won't stay there forever. And when he gets out, I have no doubt he'll be coming for me again. I wake up in my friend Mark's spare bedroom, wincing as I try to shift positions. The pain medication helps, but my ribs still feel like they're being stabbed every time I breathe too deeply. Mark had insisted I stay with him after the police station. No way you're going back to that house alone, dude. And now sunlight streams through unfamiliar curtains as I check my phone. 17 missed calls from Emma, a text that just says, please call me. For a moment, hope flutters in my chest. Maybe she's seen the evidence. Maybe she believes me now, but then I notice the timestamp, 1:14 a.m., right around when Kyle would have been released on bail. I scroll through my notifications and feel my stomach drop. Kyle has been busy overnight. There's a Facebook post tagged with mutual friends. The truth about what happened last night. I can't stay silent anymore. The post has 47 comments already. My hands shake as I click on it. Kyle's version is masterful, he claims. I've been emotionally abusing Emma for months, that he confronted me about it, and I attacked him first. He says the security footage was edited, that I manipulated the police. He's even included a photo of his own bruised knuckles, claiming defensive wounds. Jesus, Mark says from the doorway, coffee mug in hand. Have you seen what he's posting? I nod, scrolling through comments. Most are supportive of Kyle, people I thought were my friends, expressing shock at my true nature. A few seem skeptical, asking questions Kyle dodges with vague responses about letting the courts decide. Emma blocked me, I say, checking Instagram and finding her profile gone from my followers. She's completely cut me off. Mark sits on the edge of the bed. Give her time. The evidence is pretty damning against Kyle. Evidence doesn't matter if she refuses to look at it. I set my phone down, the movement sending a fresh wave of pain through my ribs. Kyle's had years to build his influence over her. I've only had 3. My phone buzzes with a text from a number I don't recognize. We know what you did. Watch your back. I show it to Mark, who takes a screenshot. Forward that to Detective Ramirez. He says, document everything. I do, adding it to the growing file of threats. By afternoon, 3 more come in from different numbers, each more graphic than the last. The final one includes a photo of my car in Mark's driveway. Nice hiding spot. We need to move your car, Mark says, peering through the blinds. They know where you are. We wait until dark, then drive my car to his cousin's garage across town. When we return to Mark's place, I find my windshield wipers have been removed, and Liar has been scratched into the hood of his car instead. Fuck, Mark whispers, running his hand over the damage. These people are unhinged. Detective Ramirez arrives 30 minutes later, documenting the vandalism. This is escalating quickly, she says, taking photos. Kyle's friends? Probably, I say. He's got a whole campaign going online, making me out to be the abuser. She nods grimly. Classic Darvo deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. We see it a lot in these cases. She hands me her card again. Call me directly if anything else happens. Day or night. 2 days pass in a blur of pain medication, police reports, and watching Kyle's smear campaign spread through our social circle. I've stopped checking my messages after the 100th variation of "How could you do this?" from people who never bothered to ask for my side. On the 3rd day, I receive an email from someone named Jessica. The subject line makes my heart race. Information about Kyle you need to know. I dated Kyle for 6 months last year. I saw his post about you and recognized the pattern. He did the same thing to me when I tried to leave, turned my friends against me, claimed I was unstable. Please call me. I have evidence that might help your case. I show the email to Detective Ramirez, who agrees to be present when I call Jessica. We meet at the station, and I dial the number with shaking hands. "Thank you for calling," Jessica says, her voice tight with anxiety. "I wasn't sure you would. I appreciate you reaching out," I reply. "Detective Ramirez is here with me." Jessica exhales audibly. "Good. I should have gone to the police back then, but I was scared. Kyle has a way of making you feel like no one will believe you." She tells us about her relationship with Kyle, the controlling behavior that escalated gradually, how he isolated her from friends, the night he pushed her into a wall when she tried to break up with him. He made everyone think I was crazy, that I was making it all up for attention. "Did you document anything?" Ramirez asks. "I kept a journal," Jessica says, "and I have texts where he threatened me after we broke up. But that's not all." She pauses. "Kyle keeps journals too, detailed ones. He wrote down everything, plans, conversations, people he wanted to deal with. When we were dating, he showed me entries about a guy who disrespected him in college. He was proud of how he'd systematically ruined this guy's reputation." Ramirez leans forward. "Do you know where he keeps these journals?" "In a fireproof box under his bed. The combination is his high school graduation year. He's meticulous about writing in them." This information leads to another search warrant. 2 days later, Ramirez calls me. "We found the journals," she says, her voice grave. "You need to come in." At the station, she shows me photocopied pages. Kyle's handwriting is neat, almost artistic, detailing plans spanning months. He'd decided Emma was too good for me, that I was holding her back. There are lists of ways to create friction between us, notes about conversations where he'd planted doubts in her mind. Most disturbing are the pages about me directly, detailed surveillance notes about my schedule, my habits, a list titled "Accidents" with the stair-pushing incident checked off and 3 more options below it, including house fire, and 2 others redacted by the police. This is, I can't find the words, staring at the evidence of Kyle's obsession. "Premeditated," Ramirez finishes. "This moves everything to a different level. The DA is adding charges of stalking and conspiracy to commit murder." My phone buzzes with a text from Emma. "I need to talk to you, please." I show Ramirez, who nods. "Be careful. This could be genuine. Or Kyle could be using her phone." I text back, "Where and when?" Emma's response comes quickly. "Tomorrow, 3 p.m., the coffee shop on Maple, public place." That night, I barely sleep, wondering what Emma wants to say. Has she finally seen the truth, or is this another trap set by Kyle? The journals make it clear how far he's willing to go. As I drift into uneasy sleep, my phone lights up with one final message from an unknown number. "You think those journals will save you? Tomorrow changes everything." I forward the message to Ramirez, my heart pounding. "Whatever happens tomorrow at the coffee shop, I know this isn't over. It's only getting worse." I'm sitting in the break room at the physical therapy clinic where I work, trying to focus on eating my lunch despite the pain in my ribs. It's been 2 weeks since Kyle's assault, and I've finally returned to work, though I'm limited to desk duty until I heal. My coworkers have been supportive but curious, whispering when they think I can't hear them. The rumors from Kyle's social media campaign have reached even here. "Hey," says Melissa, our receptionist, poking her head through the door. "There's someone asking for you at the front desk. Says it's urgent." My stomach drops. "Did they give a name?" She shakes her head. "Just said they needed to speak with you immediately." I follow her to the reception area, every instinct screaming danger. When I turn the corner, Kyle is standing there, hands in his pockets, looking perfectly calm, like he hasn't been terrorizing me for weeks, like there isn't a restraining order explicitly forbidding him from being within 500 feet of me. "There you are," he says with a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. "We need to talk." "You need to leave," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. "You're violating the restraining order." Melissa's eyes widen as she realizes who this is. She discreetly reaches for the phone. Kyle takes a step toward me. Emma's confused. "You've got her believing your lies, but I'm fixing that. I'm fixing everything." "Sir, I'm calling security," Melissa says, phone now in hand. Kyle ignores her, his focus entirely on me. "You think those journals mean anything? I can explain those. I can explain everything." His voice drops to a whisper. "But I won't have to if you just disappear." Security arrives within minutes, followed shortly by police. Kyle doesn't resist as they escort him out, but the smile never leaves his face. It's the confidence in his expression that terrifies me most, like this is all proceeding according to some plan I can't see. Detective Ramirez arrives as I'm giving my statement. "This is good," she says, reviewing the security footage from the clinic's cameras. "Clear violation of the restraining order. We can hold him this time." "For how long?" I ask. She sighs. "Probably not as long as we'd like, but it buys us time to build the larger case." She shows me her phone. "Also, I have something you should see. Emma contacted me this morning." My heart races. "What did she want?" "To see the security footage from your house. All of it." She's finally ready to look at the evidence. I'm not sure what to feel. Relief? Hope? Skepticism? Why now? Apparently Kyle's been saying things that don't add up. She's starting to question his version of events. Ramirez pockets her phone. "She's coming to the station at 4. Would you want to be there?" I think about Emma's text asking to meet at the coffee shop. Was that genuine, or was Kyle setting another trap? "I'll be there," I decide. The police station feels different this time, less intimidating, more familiar. I wait in a small conference room while Ramirez brings Emma in. When the door opens, I barely recognize her. She looks exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back messily. "Hi," she says softly, hovering in the doorway. "Hi," I reply, uncertain what else to say. Detective Ramirez gestures to a chair. "Miss Carter, please sit. We have the footage queued up." Emma sits as far from me as the table allows. She doesn't look at me as Ramirez starts the video, the unedited security footage from my doorbell camera. We watch in silence as Kyle arrives on my porch, his body language agitated. Watch as I open the door, confusion clear on my face. Watch as Kyle lunges without provocation, his fists connecting with my face, my body continuing even after I fall. Emma makes a small, choked sound when Kyle kicks me while I'm down. Her hands cover her mouth, tears streaming down her face. "There's more," Ramirez says gently, switching to footage from my neighbor's security camera that shows Kyle leaving, his knuckles bloodied, a satisfied expression on his face. "I didn't want to believe it," Emma whispers. "He's been my best friend since we were 15. He was there for me through everything." She finally looks at me. "He showed me edited clips, cut out the parts where he attacked you, made it look like you swung first. We found the edited footage on his phone, Ramirez confirms, along with messages to friends asking them to corroborate his version of events. Emma wipes her eyes. I'm so sorry. I should have. A commotion outside interrupts her. Raised voices, something crashing. Ramirez steps out to investigate, then returns looking grim. Kyle's been released on bail again. His parents posted bond. She looks at both of us. I'd recommend you both go somewhere safe tonight. Emma pales. He thinks I'm staying at my parents'. That's what I told him. You can stay with me at Mark's, I offer, then remember. Actually, no. Kyle's friends vandalized Mark's car. They know I'm there. Ramirez considers this. We can arrange a safe house if needed. I have a friend in Portland, Emma says. I could drive there tonight. We make arrangements. Ramirez providing police escorts to our respective destinations. Emma and I walk to the parking lot together. An awkward silence between us. I really am sorry, she finally says. I should have trusted you. Kyle's manipulated you for years, I reply. It's not your fault. She reaches for my hand, then hesitates. Can we talk tomorrow? Really talk? I nod, wanting to believe we can fix this. Be safe tonight. The storm hits as I'm driving back to Mark's apartment. Rain pounds against the windshield, lightning illuminating the sky in violent flashes. I call Emma to make sure she's on the road to Portland, but it goes straight to voicemail. Mark meets me at the door with a baseball bat. Dude, I've been calling you. Someone tried to break in about an hour ago. Neighbor scared them off. My blood runs cold. Did they see who it was? Just a figure in a dark hoodie. Police took a report, but I try Emma again. Still voicemail. An uneasy feeling settles in my stomach. I need to check something, I tell Mark, heading to my temporary room and booting up my laptop. The tracking app Emma and I set up when we started dating is still active. We'd installed it for safety during hikes, but never deleted it after. I pull it up, praying her phone is still on. The location makes my heart stop. She's at our house, the house Kyle tried to burn down. We need to go, I tell Mark, already grabbing my keys. Now, the drive is a blur through the storm. I call Ramirez, explaining the situation. She promises to send officers immediately, but warns they may be delayed due to flooding on the east side. Our house is dark when we arrive, but Emma's car is in the driveway. Rain soaks through my clothes as I approach the front door, finding it slightly ajar. Emma, I call, pushing it open. The house is pitch black, power out from the storm. A flash of lightning illuminates the living room for a split second long enough to see furniture overturned. A lamp shattered on the floor. Another flash shows a trail of water leading down the hallway. Emma, I call again, louder. A muffled sound comes from the bedroom. I follow it, heart pounding. Mark close behind with his bat raised. The bedroom door is closed. I take a deep breath and turn the handle. Lightning strikes again, illuminating the scene inside. Emma tied to a chair, eyes wide with terror, and Kyle standing behind her with something glinting in his hand. I knew you'd come, he says, voice eerily calm beneath the thunder. You're so predictable. Let her go, Kyle, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. The police are on their way, he laughs, always hiding behind others. First Emma, now the cops. The knife in his hand catches the light from another lightning flash, but they won't get here in time. This isn't going to fix anything, I try reasoning. You're just making it worse. Worse? His voice rises. You took everything from me. She was mine before you came along. We had plans. He presses the knife against Emma's throat. Tell him, Emma, tell him how we were supposed to end up together. Emma's eyes lock with mine. Kyle, please, she whispers. This isn't you. It is now, he hisses. Because of him. Mark shifts beside me, and Kyle's attention snaps to him. Drop the bat or I cut her. Mark slowly lowers the bat to the floor. I can hear sirens in the distance, but they're still too far away. Kyle, I say carefully. The journals the police found, they show this was all planned. You're not thinking clearly. Those journals were private, he shouts. You had no right. You tried to kill me, I remind him. You pushed me down the stairs. You tried to burn down our house. You've been stalking me for months. I was protecting Emma. The knife trembles in his hand. She deserves better than you. That's not your decision to make, Emma says, her voice stronger now. It never was. Kyle's face twists with rage. After everything I did for you, I've been there for 10 years. 10 years while you dated loser after loser, and then you choose him. The sirens are getting closer. Kyle's eyes dart to the window, then back to us. Desperation replacing calculation. It's over, Kyle, I say. Let her go, and maybe. He moves so quickly I barely register it, lunging past Emma toward me, knife raised. I try to dodge, but my injured ribs slow me down. I feel a searing pain as the blade slices across my arm. Mark tackles Kyle from the side, both of them crashing into the dresser. The knife skitters across the floor as they struggle. I rush to Emma, untying her hands while keeping one eye on the fight. Are you okay? I ask, helping her up. She nods, shaking. He was waiting when I came to get some clothes. Said he knew I'd come back here eventually. A crash draws our attention back to the fight. Kyle has broken free from Mark, blood streaming from his nose, eyes wild as he searches for the knife. He spots it near the bed and dives for it. I move without thinking, throwing myself at him despite the pain in my ribs. We collide as his fingers close around the handle. We roll across the floor, fighting for control of the blade. My injured arm weakens, and Kyle gains the upper hand, pinning me down, knife raised. This ends now, he snarls. The bedroom door bursts open, flooding the room with flashlight beams. Police! Drop the weapon. Kyle freezes, knife still raised, looking from me to the officers in the doorway. For a moment, I think he might actually surrender. Then he plunges the knife downward. A gunshot cracks through the room. Kyle jerks backward, the knife falling from his hand. He looks down at the spreading red stain on his shoulder, expression more surprised than pained. Hands where we can see them, an officer shouts, weapon still trained on Kyle. As they handcuff him, Kyle's eyes find mine one last time. This isn't over, he whispers, but there's no conviction behind it anymore. Just the empty threat of a man who's finally lost control. Detective Ramirez arrives as the paramedics are treating my arm. You're lucky, she says, watching them bandage the wound. The blade missed anything vital. Doesn't feel lucky. I wince as they clean the cut. Trust me, it is. She glances toward the ambulance where Emma is being examined. He had a detailed plan written in a notebook in his car. Tonight wasn't supposed to end with anyone walking away. I shudder, watching as they load Kyle into a police cruiser, his shoulder bandaged, eyes vacant. Will he stay locked up this time? With attempted murder added to the charges? Absolutely. She squeezes my uninjured shoulder. It's over. Emma approaches, wrapped in a shock blanket. They want to take us to the hospital. Just to be sure. I nod, suddenly exhausted. As the paramedics help me into the ambulance beside Emma, she reaches for my hand. I'm so sorry, she whispers again, for not believing you, for all of this. I look at our intertwined fingers, thinking of everything we've lost and everything we might still save. We'll figure it out, I tell her, and for the first time in weeks, I actually believe it might be true. The courtroom feels too small, too airless as I shift uncomfortably on the hard wooden bench. My ribs have mostly healed in the 3 months since Kyle's arrest, but I still feel phantom pain whenever I think about that night in the rain. Emma sits beside me, close enough that our shoulders occasionally brush, but with a careful distance that speaks to the fragile nature of our reconnection. All rise, the bailiff announces, and the room rustles with movement. Kyle enters from a side door, flanked by officers. He looks smaller somehow, his confident swagger replaced by a shuffling gait. The orange jumpsuit hangs loosely on his frame. When he turns to scan the courtroom, his eyes lock with mine for a brief, electric moment before his attorney guides him to face forward. This is surreal, Emma whispers, her fingers trembling slightly as she clutches her purse. I still can't believe we're here. I understand what she means. Despite everything, the assault, the stalking, the night he held a knife to Emma's throat, part of me expected Kyle to somehow slip away from consequences. That's what manipulators do. They twist reality until black becomes white, until victims question their own experiences. Not this time. The trial stretches across 2 grueling weeks. Each day reveals new, disturbing details about Kyle's obsession. Former girlfriends testify about controlling behavior that escalated into threats when they tried to leave. Jessica, the woman who'd emailed me, describes how Kyle systematically isolated her from friends and family. He would check my phone while I was sleeping, she testifies, her voice steady despite the visible tension in her shoulders. If I texted male friends, even cousins, he'd accuse me of cheating. Eventually, it was easier to just stop talking to anyone he didn't approve of. The prosecutor methodically builds a timeline of Kyle's fixation on Emma, using the journals as evidence. Entries dating back to high school reveal a possessiveness that predated our relationship by years. In one particularly chilling passage, Kyle had written, Emma doesn't realize we're meant to be together. She keeps dating these temporary distractions. I'll wait. They'll all eventually show their true colors or leave. I'm the only constant. When it's Emma's turn to testify, I hold my breath. She walks to the witness stand with her head high, though I can see the slight tremor in her hands. Miss Carter, the prosecutor begins. How long have you known the defendant? Since freshman year of high school, Emma replies. Almost 12 years now. And how would you characterize your relationship with him? Emma takes a deep breath. I thought he was my best friend, the person who knew me better than anyone, the person I could always count on. Her voice wavers slightly. Now I understand he was manipulating me the entire time. Kyle's attorney objects repeatedly during her testimony, but Emma remains composed, describing how Kyle systematically poisoned her against every boyfriend she'd ever had, not just me. Looking back, I can see the pattern, she says. Whenever I started dating someone, Kyle would point out their flaws, plant doubts. If I ignored his warnings, strange things would happen. My boyfriend's tires would be slashed. They'd receive threatening messages. Eventually, they'd leave, and Kyle would be there to comfort me, saying, I told you so. The defense tries to paint Kyle as mentally unstable, a troubled man who needs treatment rather than punishment. They bring in a psychologist who testifies about attachment disorders and obsessive behavior, but their strategy crumbles when the prosecution introduces Kyle's methodical planning, the surveillance notes on my schedule, the detailed accidents list, the calculations of police response times to our neighborhood. This wasn't impulsive behavior, Detective Ramirez testifies. These journals show premeditation spanning months, possibly years. The defendant knew exactly what he was doing. The most damning evidence comes from Kyle's own writings. His journal entries become increasingly disturbing as they approach the night of the final confrontation. The prosecutor reads one aloud. Emma will understand once he's gone. She'll be sad at first, but I'll be there to help her through it. In time, she'll see this was necessary, that we're inevitable. Kyle sits motionless during most of the trial, his expression blank except for occasional flashes of anger when witnesses describe his behavior. But when they play the security footage from my house, the unedited version showing him attacking me unprovoked, he leans forward, watching intently, as if seeing it for the first time. The jury deliberates for less than 5 hours before returning with their verdict. Guilty on all counts: aggravated assault, attempted arson, stalking, breaking and entering, violation of a restraining order, and attempted murder. The judge sentences him to 25 years, with possibility of parole after 15. As they lead Kyle away, he turns toward us one last time. Emma, he calls out, his voice cracking. This doesn't change anything. We're still... The bailiff cuts him off, guiding him firmly through the door. Emma exhales slowly beside me, her shoulders dropping as if releasing a weight she's carried for years. Outside the courthouse, rain falls in a gentle mist, nothing like the violent storm from that night. Emma and I stand under the overhang, watching reporters pack up their equipment. What happens now? She asks quietly. It's a question I've been asking myself for weeks. What does happen after something like this? How do we move forward when trust has been so fundamentally broken? I don't know, I answer honestly. But we don't have to figure it out today. We start small. Coffee once a week in public places. Careful conversations about neutral topics. Gradually, we rebuild what Kyle tried to destroy, though the foundation is different now, more cautious, but perhaps stronger for having been tested. 2 months after the trial, Emma helps me move into a new apartment. The old house held too many memories, too many shadows. As we unpack boxes in the living room, she pauses, holding a framed photo of us from before everything happened. Do you think we can ever get back to this? She asks, tracing the edge of the frame. To being that happy? I consider the question carefully. Not in the same way, I finally say, but maybe in a new way that's just as good. Different, but good. She nods, setting the photo on a shelf. I'd like that. 6 months later, I start a support group for survivors of manipulative relationships. We meet weekly in a community center downtown. Some nights there are only 3 of us. Other nights, the circle of chairs expands to 15. We share stories, strategies, warning signs we missed. Jessica becomes becomes a regular, bringing resources from her own therapy journey. Emma attends sometimes, sitting quietly in the back. She's still processing her own role in what happened, the years of blindness to Kyle's manipulation, the way she initially chose him over me. Her therapist calls it secondary victimization, but the label doesn't ease her guilt. I should have seen it, she tells me one night as we walk home from a meeting. All those years, I should have noticed something was wrong. Kyle was skilled at hiding who he really was, I remind her. He fooled everyone, not just you. She stops walking, turning to face me. Not everyone. You saw through him, only because he targeted me directly, I say. If he hadn't, who knows how long it would have continued. The thought is sobering. How many more years might have passed with Kyle slowly isolating Emma, positioning himself as her only support? How many other relationships might he have sabotaged? On the 1-year anniversary of Kyle's arrest, Emma and I have dinner at a small restaurant across town. The conversation flows easier now. The awkward pauses fewer. We've both changed, more cautious, more observant, but also more honest about our feelings and fears. I got a letter from Kyle yesterday, Emma says as we finish dessert. His third since the sentencing. My stomach tightens. What did it say? The usual. That he forgives me for testifying against him. That he understands I was confused and manipulated by the police. She shakes her head. He still thinks we'll end up together when he gets out. Are you worried? I ask. The question that's been lingering between us for months. She considers this, twisting her napkin between her fingers. I was, but not anymore. Her eyes meet mine. I've learned to trust my instincts again, to see people for who they really are. Later that night, walking her to her door, I realize how far we've come. The damage Kyle inflicted hasn't disappeared. We both still have nightmares, still check our locks twice before bed, still flinch at unexpected sounds. But we're healing, slowly reclaiming the parts of ourselves he tried to destroy. Do you want to come in? Emma asks, her key already in the lock. I hesitate, aware of the significance of the invitation. We've been careful to maintain boundaries during this rebuilding phase, conscious of not rushing back into something neither of us was ready for. Are you sure? I ask. She smiles, the first genuine, unguarded smile I've seen in over a year. I'm sure. We've taken enough time. I think we're ready to start the next chapter. As I follow her inside, I realize that's exactly what this is, not an ending, but a beginning. Kyle tried to write our story for us, to control the narrative with his manipulation and violence, but he failed. This new chapter belongs to us alone, and we'll write it together, one careful, honest page at a time.